Hi, I'm Rick from the Whisky Zone, welcoming you to The Cut Point, the interview series where we get to the heart of the matter. In this second installment of The Cut Point, while visiting the Scottish Isle of Islay, I had the good fortune to sit down and talk with David Brodie, tour guide for the Bunnahabhain Distillery. But I discovered the term tour guide doesn't feel like it covers enough of what David does to engage with people and promote all of Islay's whiskey culture. So I invite you to sit back and join me as I welcome David Brodie to the Whisky Zone Cut Point, and we'll get to learn a little bit more about the man and hear what fun stuff he's got going on. Thank you for being with us today.
My pleasure.
And for people who come to Islay, for people who are fans of Bunnahabhain, they all know who you are, but for someone who has not had the pleasure of meeting you in person.
The dubious pleasure. The dubious pleasure. Yes, so I'm David Brodie. I always start my, whenever I'm put in a position of describing my place and my position at Bunnahabhain, I describe myself as the ageing tour guide. I work amongst a team of much younger colleagues, and essentially my job is to give people as nice a welcome to the distillery as I possibly can, to pass on a bit of knowledge about the products and more widely about the distillery itself, the island, whatever happens to be requested. I started at the distillery in 2015, so I'm nearly 10 years there now, and even in the first year, that was the year that we'd really started to try and enhance the visitor experience at Bunnahabhain, and we brought in the very first warehouse tastings in Warehouse 9 at Bunnahabhain. I think I was on the first or the second of them. I was there right from the very start, and I've watched it grow to the point where it's almost become a brand in its own right. It's grown arms and legs, and it's very much, I think, what whisky enthusiasts associate with a visit to the distillery. Yeah. So I've been really fortunate to be part of that over all these years, and we'll try and keep it going for a few years yet.
Yeah. So you're not a native Islay?
I'm not. No, I'm not one of these. An Islay, which is a born and bred native of Islay. I first came to Islay in 1991, so I was 29 years of age. I am now 62 years of age, heading for 63. So essentially, pretty much half my life has been spent on Islay. I'm originally from a town called Helensburgh, which sits about 20 miles west of Glasgow on the River Clyde. Although that's my hometown, Islay is very much now my home. Yeah. As far as the Islay side of things go, it's funny though. You know, it's quite a hard tunnel to get through before you're ever classified fully as a local. Initially, you start off, you're just here. If you've come from somewhere else, you're just here. After a little while, you may become an incomer. If you can maybe pass on your genes, and maybe another couple of generations down the line, providing your offspring and their offspring have married into the right people, you may eventually have Islays within your family. Okay. I will never be given that badge of honour, but my grandchildren are Islays. So yeah.
Now, does it change if you have one of those vital skills, like if you're an electrician or a plumber? Do they?
Yes, they remind you less that you're not truly an Islay, you know, because you're useful. Yeah. But yeah, as I say, I've only worked at the distillery for 10 years.
Yeah.
Despite having come to Islay 30 plus years ago. I did have a previous life, I did have a career at one time. People ask me, and sometimes I will say to them that yes, I was a prostitute. Only because that's less shameful than being a bank manager, which is what I really was. But I managed to escape the madness that was being a bank manager in the early 2000s. I managed to escape that in 2005.
Yeah.
I was on Islay, and Islay is a great place to find work if you're prepared to do jobs. It might not be what people would perceive to be a career, but there is work. You might have to do 2 or 3 little jobs, and that'll give you the sum total that you're maybe looking for.
I've seen that a lot.
Yeah.
People are doing multiple jobs.
Yeah. And that's a common thing across the islands and the more sparsely populated areas of the mainland. That's a common thing.
Yeah.
And Islay is wonderful for that. So when I left the bank, I didn't have plans. I was just at a period when I just wanted to not be doing what I was doing. And Heather, my wife, and I had a conversation around about what might happen if I decided I wasn't going back into work the following day. And we decided that, having had a good look round this island, nobody seemed to be without food or without a roof, and we would get by. So I didn't go in the next day, and that was it. I just walked away. A little while later, I thought I'd better do something to put the food on the table, and I started pulling pints of beer. I started working behind a bar, which was actually the Macri Hotel, which is now a very plush, very up-to-date, modern golf resort hotel. Back in those days, back in 2005, it was the golf course, a very different golf course to now, and the hotel was pretty much an old converted farmhouse with some accommodation to it, but it was a good place to work. Yeah. Particularly as I was playing a lot of golf anyway. Now, that was my first time kind of working in the drinks industry. You've seen some of the hotels and the bars here, Rick. Yeah. You've seen the selections of whiskey, particularly if you go to Bowmore Hotel or Ballygranton, Bridgend Hotel isn't bad either. The Macri wasn't that kind of a whiskey gantry. It was primarily serving golfers rather than whiskey people. And without sounding cruel about it, they probably had about 70 bottles on the shelf, and it was almost a cooking malt from 70 different distilleries. Yeah. But it was my first time having to think about it from that side of the glass. And it was a good training. I did that for 4 or 5 years, I suppose, working at the Macri. And out of the blue, I got a phone call from the man who owned the hotel just 100 yards along the road, the Lochside Hotel. And that's a man called Duffy McNeil, who lives about 100 yards, maybe less than, from where we sit right now. And Duffy asked me to go and run the bar in the Lochside. And that was a proper whiskey bar. Yeah. Still is. Maybe not quite to the extent that it was in those days, but that was when my whiskey education had to really be bolstered, because we were looking at a bar which at that time was maybe towards 400 different Islay malts.
Not bad. That's not a bad collection.
It's not bad. It was good in those days, particularly from a quality point of view, because it was Black Bowmore, it was 1965 Ardbeg, it was Old Sheriff's Bowmore. There was all sorts of fabulous whiskies there, and I had to learn about it.
Yeah.
You know, I had to learn about it.
So can I ask you, before you were like getting really into it from that side of the bar,
yeah.
were you a whiskey drinker?
Yes, but I wasn't knowledgeable.
Okay.
I wasn't knowledgeable. It was something where if I was being cruel to myself, I would say I would drink it more for effect than for the enjoyment of knowledge. And we still drink it for effect to a certain extent. Sometimes the effect of the whiskey is half of the enjoyment.
Yeah.
But in those days, I didn't seek to look behind the dram. I couldn't have told you anything about casks. I probably couldn't have told you even how the stuff was really made.
Yeah.
And even that side of it really only started when I went to Bunnahabhain. I knew what the whiskies were when I was working at the lochside, and I actually ended up managing the lochside. After Duffy sold it, I actually ended up managing it for the guy who then bought it from him, and Heather and myself ran that hotel for about 3 years. And that meant that I was then responsible for all the buying of the bottles, as well as trying to move them into, the public. So that was another step up in knowing what they were.
So when you were responsible for buying now, did that involve going to the other bars in town or on the island and seeing what they had, or?
You kind of knew anyway.
Yeah.
You kind of knew the setup. Now it has moved on, because back in those days, that period of time ago, Ballygrant Inn, Ewan was the young man behind the bar who was starting to really learn his stuff and starting to push the whisky bar side of it. Same round the corner, same at Bowmore Hotel. Peter's about the same age as one of my daughters. 10 years ago, he wasn't so involved in the whisky side of it, although it was very good because his father's always had a wonderful collection of whisky. Peter really started to drive it forward. I would say that at that time, 10 years ago, I would say the Lochside was the best whisky bar in Ireland. It's a very close run thing now between Bowmore Hotel and Ballygrant Hotel. I think I would just give first place to the Bowmore Hotel, purely from the point of view that if you go in there, you have access to about 1,700 bottles to buy a dram.
That's not bad.
Where the game is really raised is when you consider that every bottle is an Islay, but every bottle is a distillery official bottle.
Oh, they don't do independent
They
bottles?
don't do indies.
Wow.
They don't do indies.
Interesting. Because that...
I'll throw Jura into that as well, because they involve Jura in it as well. But yes, it's all official releases, and he's built up a nice collection of friends who live in different whisky marketplaces, so that, let's say for instance, Ardbeg do a single cask, but it's only for Sweden. He'll have a pal in Sweden that'll locate it. The deal will be done, and that'll become available in the bar as well.
Yeah.
So that's a special level of dedication. So I would pin first place to the Bowmore Hotel from that point of view, with Ballygrant Inn putting up a very good challenge. Can I pour you a dram?
I never say no
Okay.
to somebody pouring a dram.
Now, I didn't bring a bottle. I brought a bag. Okay. This bag came back from the Jura Music Festival last week. Last week, week and a half ago. And this is Heather and I's Lucky Dip bag. So when I'm up on the stage at the Jura Music Festival encouraging people to take part in the open mic, part of the proceedings, Heather sits down patiently, and I'm not allowed a bottle on the stage anymore because I had a bottle of 12 on the stage about 3 years ago and things didn't end well. So we now take little bottles with us, and I'm allowed to come off the stage once or twice and take part in the Lucky Dip. So stick your hand in there, see what comes out. Right. I think you've got an Appreciation Society bottle there. Maybe just, what is it, 18 or something? Let me see. Oh no, the Warehouse 9. Oh, here, you'll like that. Warehouse 9 Pedro Jimenez.
Oh, very nice.
So that's a 2004. And it was a PX finish, but it was a long finish. I think it was 6 or 7 years, maybe, something like that. Look at me cheating, I'm having a look in. We'll stir the bag and see what I get. Canaster. No, I want you to have that one. So I'll have another wee dig around. I want you to have the canaster because there we go, that'll do me. 1999 Amontillado.
Oh.
You might have had a taste of this today.
I had a taste of that this morning.
Yeah, it's a fabulous dram. You want a swap? I don't mind swapping. If you want another go at that one.
Yes.
Go for it then. I'll take this one.
I'm not proud.
Hey, no, go for it.
So, I was actually going to talk to you about music.
Okay.
Because I know that that's a big thing for you. When did you start picking up the guitar?
It was a long time ago. I wasn't young. I think it was around about the time that I was coming to Islay, first time around. So 30 plus a little bit years ago. And in those 30 plus years of playing guitar, I've probably managed to get about 2 years of learning into it. I'm really not very good, but I'm enthusiastic, and
that's all that matters.
I'm enthusiastic, and I'm not easily embarrassed. So I just get away with it.
Yeah.
As you know, Bunnahabhain has this association with the song Westering Home, and it's running into the dozens and maybe hundreds of times now that I have played that song at the end of tastings.
Tell me a land to the Orient gate, speak of the rich joys of Cathay. Aye, but it's grand to be waking each day to find yourself nearer to Ireland. It's Westering Home with a song in the air, lighting the eye, goodbye to care, laughter and love, a welcome and there. I'll have a heart my own one.
It's nice to be, it's different.
Yeah.
It's something different, you know. So, but
Slange.
Just noticing we're in a Bowmore Cottage and we've got our big glasses. Right. Hands across the ocean.
If you can find the Amontillado cask, it is so good. So I also understand that, and you were kind of alluding to that a little bit ago, about your appreciation for sherry. How did that come about?
I think it was a natural progression from the way that I approached my work at Bunnahabhain, and that sounds like I'm taking an awfully serious kind of approach and attitude. I don't really mean it that way. But I went in as a tour guide. Essentially my job was to take people around the production process, because we didn't really do, as I say, we were a little bit into the year before we started doing warehouse tastings, and we all started to be, I should give you the numbers, because that first year, 2015, there were 4 of us in the visitor centre, and one of them was only there for about 4 weeks of the summer.
Wow.
So there really only was 3 of us dealing with people that were coming in. We'd been given a paper and said, this is what happens, these are the numbers, learn this, take people around. And sadly, in a lot of places, that is kind of the way that people are trained to do production tours. I wasn't really comfortable with that, so I just took it upon myself to go and speak to, I'm going to say the guys, because although we've got girls in production now, it was all guys in those days. So I went to the guys and I said, what's happening here? I don't know what this equipment is. This is alien to me, because like I said, I hadn't been a whisky enthusiast in those terms before I went to work at Bunnahabhain. But my idea was, if I could get into my head, in even the most simple kind of terms, what was actually happening, what is happening here with this Porteous Mill, or we'll go to the master, what's this all about? And if I knew the gist of it without knowing all these silly numbers, if I knew just what was happening with these processes, then it's easier for me to pass that understanding on to people who are asking the questions.
That makes sense, yeah.
Because the worst thing about anything that involves a script is, if somebody asks you a question, you're scuppered. Because you might not know the answer. You might know the answer, but you will definitely be knocked off your stride.
Right.
You will definitely be knocked off your stride. And I've drifted away from your question, as I so often do. The sherry knowledge side of thing, I very, very quickly realised, once I'd got a grip of the types of whisky we did, the casks that we were using, etc., I realised the importance of sherry casks. And I realised that there was space for knowledge. Like all of these things, and it's the same as the way that whisky gets people. Once I got a little bit of knowledge about the sherry, I wanted more, and it sucks you in, and you start to think, oh, there's a lot to this. There's a lot more. How can this drink be so maligned and so underrated in its own name? I mean, every whisky man knows about sherry cask, but they don't know about sherry. And when you get into it, it's complex, it's years in the making. Oh, and it's delicious. Bang. And quite cheap. So,
Well, I think a lot of that is that reputation, where people say, well, it's for your grand to drink, and
that's right.
The old people drink
that's
that.
right. Yeah, that's right. Just in the very same ways as and again, I talk about this. People say people don't drink sherry anymore, so that's why you can't get sherry casks for the whisky industry, and for one, it's only right that less people drink sherry, but that's not a reason for a shortage of casks, because for one, you rarely get the casks that are used to make the sherry, and And for two, if you want the casks, you can go and you can buy sherry casks. You buy them in Spain. Yes, they are conditioned casks. And here's the other thing. Conditioned casks are not bad casks. Too many people, when they're talking about sherry casks, will come away with the line, oh, these modern conditioned casks, these casks, oh, well, the sherry's only in them 2 years. They're not as good as those old casks. Actually, they're better, because the casks that used to come into the whisky industry were transportation casks. It wasn't the casks that were used to make the sherry.
Interesting. Yeah.
So, but the whisky industry doesn't help itself with this, because there's all sorts of people go into distilleries and say, do you not use sherry casks? No, we can't get them. Nobody drinks sherry any longer. And it's an easy answer. And it suits the people who don't want to learn and maybe don't use sherry cask anyway. But it perpetuates this myth.
Yeah.
And I've almost become evangelical about trying to put people right, if because people say it in the warehouse. They come in and I hear it, and I'm like, I know where you're getting that from, and it's not the case.
Yeah.
You know, you just have to have the intentions, the good intentions, and the money to go and get them, because they are more expensive. But yeah, there we go. Who'd have thought I'd be talking about sherry cask today?
So, I think one thing we kind of missed was that transition from you being behind the bar to you being at Bunnahabhain.
Yeah. So, like I say, I ended up running the lockside for 3 years, and I thought my kind of pressurised career days were behind me, but that was pressure, because running a hotel is very much your whole life.
Yeah.
It was 24/7, and it wasn't my place. So when it was decided that by the guy that he was going to sell it, it was almost a relief to me. I thought, that's fine. I don't have to worry about this anymore. I do now have to think about getting another job.
Yep.
But I was able to do a couple of things. I was able to go back to doing a little bit of DJing, which I used to do at the Bowmore Hotel.
Really?
Yeah, it was. It had a bad reputation. Let's put it that way. Yeah, it was. We had some very, very boisterous nights under the alias of Disco Dave, the oldest DJ in the planet, you know. But it was good because I was able to stand in there. There was a kind of almost like it looked a bit like a pulpit. Okay, I called it the booth of love. But it gave me free rein to be absolutely abusive to people. And it was great fun. But so when I came out, because I'd had to stop doing that when I was running the lockside, because obviously all of the hours were devoted along there. So I was able to go back in and do a little bit of that for a couple of years. And also here's one. Just across the road there is the co-op. And it's quite good for the co-op to have an ex-bank manager to count their money 3 mornings a week. So I go in there at 5:30 in the morning, 5:45 in the morning, 3 mornings a week, and just count the money for my pal. Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, was able to do these little things again, but also managed to get the job at Bunnahabhain, which sometimes is 24/7 as well. That's the thing, you know, because it's a job that gives me pleasure, and it leads you to meet other people, and then social media is a great connector. It has made the world a much smaller place. We wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for social media. and it has developed wonderful friendships for me. So from that point of view, yeah, the whisky's a good thing. It's certainly no hardship to be involved in.
So with the social media,
Yeah.
Everybody loves the things that you do with social media, and I'm wondering if it ends up being something that you just do for the joy of doing it, or does it end up being a part of the job? So I have to do this, this, and this.
It is no part of the job.
Yeah.
This is the thing. It is no part of the job. I am under no obligations whatsoever to do the things that I do on social media. I do them because I like to do them. It's a bit of a drug. It's if you do something and you get a nice positive reaction to it, you feel good inside, and you're happy to repeat. I don't think I would get away with doing some of the things that I do if it was part of my job.
Right.
They have their own social, their own media department, etc. The social media team who look after the official side of things. All I do is I walk out the door at the visitor centre and I sweep my phone round for half a minute and I go send.
Yeah.
But also, social media teams are not on call 24 hours a day. But if I'm sitting at night and I'm just scrolling through or whatever I'm doing and I see a comment, because we've probably got similar circles of connection. Mm-hmm. And if I see something that I can give an answer to, or if I can help with, then I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to leave it, because I think people would rather hear it from somebody on the ground than hear it from the big title, you know. Mm-hmm. If they want something formal, they can go through the kind of main account holders.
Yeah.
If they just want to know how long something's been in a cask, I'll tell them.
Yeah.
You know, I'll tell them. I know when to back out. You know, if I think, no, this is getting a little bit bubbly, then I'll say,
yeah,
you know, that'll no more from me in this one, you know. But yeah, and I do the other stuff as well. You know, that's what I do for the whisky side of things. But as a result of that, all the nonsense that I put onto from my personal side of things, from walking the dogs and from
the dogs.
They're great. You know what? We're back in the house there an hour ago, and we had been up in the hill, up behind the high road. Mm-hmm. So the high road down to Portelmore, up in the hill behind there, and we had our 3 dogs, and we had another 5 with us today. So watch this space. I'll be putting something up later with 8 dogs scampering about. But yeah, so anybody that has to, or who follows me for whiskey on any of these is also going to suffer all of the other rubbish as well. And
well, I mean, I'll just say, as somebody who does follow all of that, when you have a connection to someplace like Islay, and you live somewhere else on the planet and you can't be here, and all of a sudden you get to see you for a few minutes talking about the weather.
Yes.
And just standing there looking at the clouds. It's a wonderful connection. I love that.
It's, well, you know, it seems to work for at least enough people that it's worth my time to do it, because it costs me nothing. Yeah. It costs me nothing. I am there anyway. You know, and sometimes I'm walking the dogs, and Heather walks them more than me, but sometimes I'm walking the dogs in the wildest of West Coast weather. Yeah. But I've got to do it. Yeah. So I might as well share it with folk. I might as well let people see my suffering. So, all good fun.
You have access to a lot of amazing whiskeys.
Yeah.
Do you drink everything that you acquire, or do you have bottles that you kind of put aside and say, that one's special to me, I don't want to drink it?
So, I am not a whiskey collector in the classic terms.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have nicely stacked shelves. I don't have a room. I don't have a section of the house. I have bottles, and they are under a bed. I am very, very fortunate that I have so many friends through the whiskey, and from that point of view, I receive a lot of gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I have staff rates at Bunnahabhain as well,
Yeah.
but I'm very lucky that I get little bottles from people of different things, and so I'm quite eclectic in the whiskey that I drink.
Yeah.
I don't tend to think, oh, I'm going to have some 18 tonight, I'm going to get, I think I'll bring down that bottle of 25. Heather, is it okay if I... No, you're not opening that. So I do have, but nothing like the way that some people approach it. And I think you have to be careful, because while I am privileged to be in that position, I think it's crucial that you don't abuse it, because that equally doesn't look very nice.
Mm-hmm.
If I was coming on to one of the Zoom tastings or whatever, and I'm sitting in my spare bedroom, and I've got every fancy bottle of Bunnahabhain behind me, that's going to look terrible, because people will know that I didn't have to pay full whack for those bottles. If it's somebody who has acquired the bottles through their own hard graft and paying the going price for them, and they want to set them up behind them, more power to their elbow. That's fantastic. That's what they want to do. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
If I did that, that is not a good thing.
Right.
So I'm quite happy just to, and I don't dram every day. I only have drams maybe one night a week. If I'm having 4 or 5, that is. But I tend to have a bottle of 12 in the house, or if I've managed to pick up something else at a reasonable price, I'll have something open. But I don't go over the top with my position of fortune.
Yeah.
However, I'm going to get another dram out. You better
Alright.
finish that one.
All right. I was trying not to finish it quickly because I really love this.
But you get another glass there. Yeah. Dive in, see what you get this time.
See how this one goes.
Oh, that's a mystery
It's a
dram, is
mystery
it?
dram.
What's on it? Right, so that's the dram that you didn't get today.
Okay.
There was a 4th cask on the right hand side,
Oh,
which is
went dry?
which is empty,
Yeah.
which is now empty, and that MU, I've obviously got a hold of this one for homework, just to remind me what it tastes like. So you've now got that one, and MU is Muscat.
Ah.
Close eyes, don't cheat. Oh, I'm going peated. I'm sticking with PX. I've got a peated one though, unless you want that.
No, I'm good with this.
You good with that one? I'll see what I get a second at, and then you can pick which one you want to keep. What's that one? PX again. Right, I'll leave that one for you. Let's see, I think there's only 2 left in here. We'll see if this is... We've taken them both out. Bunnahabhain. Right, I'm going to have that one. So here's... This will be interesting for you. Sorry, left. No, that's a lot. That's everything now.
Right.
So you've got that. That's the cask that you didn't have today because it's now empty. That's a 2007 distillation, which did 9 years in sherry refill, and then it was a 2016 re-rack into a Muscat wine cask.
I'm not sure I've had Muscat
Okay.
finished whiskey before.
Okay.
So what kind of flavor is that bringing to it?
Well, here's the thing. Muscat is a pretty generic name, okay? Because the Muscat grape is essentially now global, but there's different spellings in different places. In France, it's Muscat. In Spain, it's Moscatel.
Ah, okay.
In Italy, it's Moscato. But it's kind of all over the world now. It's one of the classic grapevines. It's 5,000 years old, Muscat of Alexandria. But this particular one is quite rich, quite fruity. 53.7% ABV, I think I'm going to say it is. That's what it was when we opened the cask, when we regauged the cask on opening. It might be, in real terms, it might be a little bit softer than that now.
Okay.
But we've got to say what it is when we re-gauge it. So 53.7, blast into it.
Right.
Okay, see what you think. I'm just cheating, I'm just doing a little bit of 18-year-old here. So blasé, I didn't even rinse my glass.
These are the toughest interviews to do.
Slash.
Slash. Oh, that's nice.
That's all I need to know. Don't hit me with any daft tasting notes. I don't care for tasting notes.
I don't have a problem drinking that at all.
Good. So, like it or not like it, that's all the tasting notes you need.
Yeah. Also, in your position, you've obviously had a chance to meet a lot of people in the industry.
Yeah.
Is there anybody that like stands out as somebody that you were excited to meet? That was like, there's that person that
That's quite a difficult one because I'm not much a cheerleader, but I have really got on very, very well with some of the people who are cheer-led. So I've met Sikander Singh a couple of times. Absolute gentleman. I've met, and I've actually done a tasting, but I've met 3 or 4 times and actually done a tasting with Dave Broom. And again, I get on great with him. We see each other, we just have a laugh at each other. You know, just a cheesy grin comes on, you know. I've known Jim, been doing for 30 years, so I've known him all the time that I've been here, and he has always just been a lovely, lovely man. I have never been party to any of his 400 strong tastings or anything like that. I know there is the showman side to Jim. I've never known that side. Also, the likes of, because I was at the Macrae and because of being here so long, we're sitting in one of Bowmore Distillery's cottages here. So I've met Tim Morrison, and Tim and Brian were Morrison's Bowmore distillers. Tim's son Andrew is now the head man of Clydeside Distillery. I know Andrew, but also on a more local basis, obviously with Alistair Ross, again about 150 yards from where we are sitting. Alistair Ross was the main man here. Who else? Eddie MacArthur. Eddie was the main man here. There's a lovely little circle of people within that, because through Bunnahabhain I've come to be very, very good friends with Andy Watts. And when I say very, very good friends, we have spoken on the digital platform more times than I could count, and we have still not shared a dram in person. But Andy is obviously the main man at James Sedgwick Distillery. He's essentially now retired, but he was the man behind James Sedgwick Distillery, making Baines Grain and Three Ships malt whisky. So he drove the south. He basically drove the South African whisky industry. But Andy did his training here with Alistair Ross and Jim McEwen and a man that lives across the road from in Jameson Street is Ian McPherson, better known as Percy, ex-manager of Bowmore Distillery. So I know all these people. Love is too strong a word, but it's more than I like. Mm-hmm. It's more than I like, and I admire them. I don't think I can say that I am impressed by them, because that's not the relationship we have.
Okay.
It's just a friendship, and it's a warmth, and then you think, I can't believe you're the man who did this or did that. You were the man that was behind that.
Yeah.
So these people are the legends of the industry. Okay, I hear too many times people saying, "Oh, that guy's a legend. This guy's a legend." Oh, you're a legend, aren't you? You're a legend. No. These people are the legends, and they're worthy of that acclaim. But I don't acclaim them because they're my friends.
Right.
You know, and I imagine that if I was to acclaim them in some way, they'd just go, David, what are you? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? You know?
And what about the people that put you in that category?
Well, see, that's the thing. I am not that man.
Yeah.
I am not that man. I am just somebody who enjoys what I do, and I'm happy to talk about it. I've tried to embrace the job that I do because I want to make people enjoy the products that our company make, and a little bit of knowledge helps with that. So it's that's kind of where we are with it. It's, you know, it's glass pedestals, you know, you don't want to be out there.
Yeah.
So
one thing that I think is probably important to bring up is I'm wearing this t-shirt, The Attic, which you have a connection to.
yeah, well I have
You have the same shirt.
the negative of that t-shirt. You just have you have the black and white, and I have the white and black. Yeah, the Attic. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to talk a little bit about The Attic?
Most certainly. So the Attic is essentially a YouTube channel with attachments. It started off as a YouTube channel, a whisky YouTube channel, The Attic, All Islay Whisky, and it was two of my then colleagues. It was Colin and Rodney. Neither of whom work in the visitor centre any longer. Colin is now essentially self-employed, running the Attic taxi service.
Which Colin has been driving me around Islay all week.
And he hasn't crashed yet. No, he has got better. But they set up this YouTube channel. In the moment, at the time, it was to give them an excuse to go out and visit places, and basically to talk about different distilleries in Islay, and to show a bit of the countryside, and to occasionally fall down in various places. But alongside that aspect of the YouTube channel, they decided that they wanted to do live tastings. And they invited various people onto the live tastings and I was one of them. And we had so much fun that we decided I would become a kind of permanent guest for the live tasting side of it. And these live tastings are probably the worst on YouTube. We thrive on our lack of professionalism, and if ever an online whisky tasting was to have a kind of cross genes moment with a car crash, the attic tastings are that. Now, since Rodney moved off of the visitor centre staff and moved into production, he's now on shift pattern work, and he no longer has the time to be involved. So we have now brought one of our other colleagues, or my particular colleague anyway, which is Katie from the visitor centre, and she has joined us. And we don't do any of the outside broadcast stuff anymore. It's only live tastings. We're trying to keep it to 2 a year, because with 6-month gaps, people forget how bad it was the last time and are happy to come on board again. So that's how we see it going forward, is on almost a 6-monthly basis. We'll throw together a live tasting. The drams are good. The drams are good. The tasting is good value. The knowledge is not. But it's good fun.
It's so much fun.
So long may it continue. Yeah. Don't go looking for it. It's not.
Well, and if it's only twice a year, people will also forget, and it might save Katie's reputation.
That's the only thing that will. Oh yeah.
Well, I've been doing it for a while now. Yeah. And I love whenever the tastings happen with the attic. It's so much fun. And in fact, when I was going about the island today with Colin, the back of his car was completely filled up with packages that he was taking to the post office.
Correct.
So he would send those out.
Yeah. The crazy thing is there are a lot of people who do online tastings and take it very, very seriously. And they don't even get half the people watching that we get. It's like, oh no.
Yeah.
But and the evening gets progressively worse.
Yeah.
The more we have to drink. So.
Or better.
Yeah, or better. Yes. So yeah. So thank you for the advert.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't say enough good things about the attic. It's so much fun. It really is. You know, I think that might actually be a good place to leave it.
Rick, thank you for
David,
having me.
Thank you so much for doing this.
I think we should finish these
great.
drams.
Oh, I think we should. Absolutely, yeah. I'm all for that.
Sludge.